I've got on my VFW cap tonight because I'm here to address council and ask for their support of a special program called the Roads of Honor. This program was started in the past 3 or 4 years in White Sulphur Springs, West Virginia, and you see that that program is lining the streets with banners with the likeness of veterans, their rank, their service, their conflict, those things that they have participated in. These banners do not cost the municipality $1. They are fully paid for by individuals who wish to recognize a relative or a loved one or a close friend for the service that they have given to our country. I'm sure that most of you, if not all of you, have seen those banners, and an individual who was most instrumental in doing that is one of our Post members, Richard Streck, who is the manager of the Blue Ridge Lumber Company up at Jerry's Run, and he has a lot of close relationships in White Sulphur. White Sulphur no longer has a VFW, and currently we have about 6 members that come to our, active members that come to our post. There were people that approached Richard about putting banners up. You may have seen some in Callahan. There are 2 banners on Craig Avenue that I've seen, and we would like to do this program in Covington. The interest of VFW Post 1033 is that we are the financial mechanism that the funds flow into and out. This makes no money for the VFW. The individual is simply charged what the banners cost and the hardware to affix them to the poles. Generally, the banners in Callahan were done voluntarily by Mr. Streck. Within the town of White Sulphur, I guess White Sulphur's a city, but they're public works. In West Virginia, I think they're cities.
Yes, they are cities.
And their public works voluntarily hangs those banners. We would like to do that here in Covington. We do not want to do it on a haphazard basis, though. We would like to take our historic Midland Trail, which is Route 60 that goes from the Rosedale Bridge to exit 16, and designate that as the Road of Honor in Covington. And then we can begin to solicit individuals who want to place those banners, and working with the city, have them placed. We would ask that the city consider placing them for uniformity, and if there is a need to charge for that service, we could add that as part of the banner program. I anticipate, because of inquiries that I've already had, that these are going to be pretty popular. If you go into White Sulphur, you can't go down the alley or find a utility pole that doesn't have a veterans banner on it. I think that would add to the entry corridors into Covington, much as our new Old Town Covington banners have. And these banners are guaranteed for 2 years, but there are some in White Sulphur that have been up over 4 years. If they get frayed and faded and so forth, individuals can have them replaced. Replacing the banners is less costly than the initial charge. We would like your support on this. As I said, I anticipate that that corridor is going to fill up, and we may need to go to Craig and Durant Road and the Allegheny Avenue Route 220 corridor. I understand that trying to place them in the downtown area on Main and Maple, those street lamps are not suitable for hanging banners with everything else. But we would like to proceed with this project and would work with the city to do that. Our first intention would be to, as a VFW post, place a banner by the Rosedale Bridge for Medal of Honor winner Michael Fallon, for which the Rosedale Bridge is named. And we would like to place a banner for Lieutenant Gary L. Miller at the Gary Miller Memorial Bridge in Sunnymead. So that's my request to you. I've given you each a synopsis of what I've said here. And I think it would really add to this city and their respect for veterans, and this particularly being Pearl Harbor Day, 80 years ago. So with that, Mr. Mayor, Ms. Onitis, any questions? Or I would appreciate your...
One, I think it's a wonderful idea. We've had some inquiries. Just a few thoughts. From a zoning perspective, we as a city are not able to restrict the banners to one area. So as long as someone meets the zoning requirements, if they want to put them in their yard or other things, that's one challenge. And so that might be something that the Planning Commission or Council may want to discuss further, if there's a specific type of signs when you're discussing branding, a Trail of Honor, so that the intention is what it is. Mr. Popovich would have to advise on the feasibility of that, but I just know that if someone came in for a permit to place them on their own property or somewhere, as long as it's their property, if it meets the setback requirements, legally, the city has no means to say no. But I think the vision of that is wonderful. And just the only other piece is making sure, so when we did the Main Street banners, when we helped support the Old Town Covington effort with that, the city itself owns very few light poles, so we will just have to make sure that we get authorization from Dominion or whoever is the utility provider that owns the pole where we put them, or if other poles are erected, just provided that they meet the height requirements. It wasn't an issue with the Old Town Covington banners, but we did want to make sure that we had, permission in writing from Dominion to use their poles. Hasn't been an issue before, but wanting to make sure, that we're going down that path too. But I think it's a wonderful idea.
Well, evidently Mr. Streck has an in with Dominion Power, because he's already contacted them about putting banners in the county. And so I don't think that's an issue. As far as uniformity and so forth, our program will be geared towards encouraging people who want these banners to go through us, and if they have a preference along the Route 60 corridor, we could honor that. Personally, I hope that people just don't haphazardly put these up places. I think they're more attractive when they're uniform. I'm military. You're supposed to dress right and be straight down the line, and everything's supposed to be at the same height and the same size. So
if I wanted a banner, the way for me to get a banner is to come through y'all. I can't just go up and buy that banner anymore.
You could find somebody that would make that banner for you like that. The two on Craig Avenue, Mr. Streck worked with Ms. Vi to do that. I've talked to Richard. Like I say, he's a member of our post. I tell you, he raises money for veterans. He sells Buddy Poppies at Bartley's Meat Market and at the Callahan Market, and If you've been down up the Callahan Road where the abandoned bridge to Fletcher's Chapel is, he was the gentleman that engineered that tribute. And he's just very patriotic. He's a Marine. He's an old first sergeant.
I think that with people having to come through the VFW, there'd be more uniformity.
Well, that's what we would advertise it as, that if you want these banners, we are the organization that they can come to. And what we're asking is the city's support of that and assisting us in hanging the banners in a uniform manner.
I think it'd be a real good thing, but I would think that the city would look at that they would have to come through you all if we're going to put them in the city, possibly. Instead of being able to just go out and order your own, in agreement if they're going to go up, that they would go through the VFW.
Legally, we can't, as long as the sign meets the zoning setbacks. If someone chooses to put a sign on their property, whether it's an obscene sign like some of the ones we've seen about in newspapers, or it's a patriotic sign honoring a veteran, we do not have purview as long as it meets the zoning requirements that are on the books. Which is the challenge. As long as they come in and fill out a permit, and they pay their fee and it complies, we can advise that there is the program.
Well, and I've had calls from people that's saying, well, I understand the city won't let them put the banners on Main Street. I said, look, you're way ahead of yourself. Those banners can't go on those lamp posts. There are flagpole holders, there are hanging baskets, there are Christmas lights. The banners need to go on a main corridor where visitors and citizens can see them. How many of you have gone a week without going to Walmart, to the drive-in market, down Monroe Street, or out Allegheny Avenue? That's where you're going to see the banners that honor the veterans. Now, can they be put on the streets? Like I said, in White Sulphur, you can't even go down an alley that there aren't banners hanging there. But the city of White Sulphur hangs those banners, and as far as ordering them on your own, I can guarantee you that Richard Strick has overseen this whole program. So nobody's ordered these on their own. They've always worked with him. So,
I guess I have one question. So since it seems as though VFW wants to designate specific areas where they're interested in hanging these, from a zoning perspective, Mr. Popovich, would it then be that they would come to the city saying that they're seeking, the ability or the permit to then have to work with the city to then post signs in these areas, but then they could get one permit that they're doing this on behalf of families? Because right now, a sign permit is per sign.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. I mean, I don't think the city has a process in place to designate an area. We could create one,
Yeah.
certainly, but as it's written now, no.
When we did the ones with Old Town, that's a city-affiliated organization. So just trying to think through it so that we're walking out of this with a mechanism for how we can move forward with this. Because I've already gotten about 4 or 5 emails since the ones went up on Craig. So if we could work on developing something where if it's that the VFW has a annual permit for signs that are veteran signs on, you were mentioning Monroe, to start with.
the Route 60
Route 60
corridor.
corridor. And then that way, it's not that you guys are coming to the city each time you're putting up a new one, it's that you're contacting, or coordinating with Public Works to say, hey, we've got 5 to put up this week. Not the onesie twosies, but we've got a batch, can we work on putting them up? So it's much more of a streamlined process, and folks aren't then wondering like, hey, we paid for our banner, where is it? We don't see it.
Well, the banners, if we manage the project, the banners never go to the people.
You know, I just mean that they'll want to see it.
They make an application to get the banner and supply a photograph if they want the image and the basic information that goes on those banners, and then we proceed to have them hung. Now, we could ask them on the application, do you have a preference for where you would like your banner to be put? You know, corner of Monroe and Locust Street, or, you know, some location like that, we could do that. But without a specific request for placement of the banner, we would place them uniformly on the corridor.
So they would be on city property, all this posts?
They would be in the city right of way.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
So that's what I mean, so there would still need to be, like VFW potentially taking out a blanket permit for, you know, Memorial Trail, Veterans Memorial Trail, with the intent that they are going to be working to put up memorial signs on US Route 60.
So we would be working with VFW.
They would get a permit
Individuals.
for that. If
For
individual,
that, that's what I'm.
for just for that one, if other individuals came in and they wanted something just on their own yard, they can put that up.
I would say.
But it would be up to VFW to say where each banner went on US Route 60. You know, I think picking one corridor and starting with that and seeing how it goes. And then just making sure we have a process, you know, with staff, because we also have a lot of other competing needs, so that, you know, it's not that we just go out each time there's one banner, that it's batches, so that we make the most of that effort. But wanting to make sure everyone that puts a sign up has to get a permit. So trying to come up with a process where they can get a broad permit, so they can do, you know, if it's only 5 that end up going up, or if it's 50. Do you get what I'm saying? So it's not that they come each time they get a
The
new
first
sign.
thing was, if they're gonna be put on city property, then we can say we want VFW to do it, we're gonna work with VFW,
No, we can't.
okay?
On city property?
Yes.
City right of way,
City
yes.
right away. That's what I mean.
Yes, we can
I
direct
thought
them to
that's where they were
VFW.
going.
Yes, if it's private property, they can do what they wish.
Okay, that's what I thought.
But as I said, we wouldn't encourage people to put them on private property. If they go through us with an application, we can indicate that we have a corridor. If you have a preference along that corridor, that's where we'll go.
Paul and I talked about this a couple months ago, and when they started in Callahan, we talked about just following Route 60 right on through to Rockbridge County, if that's where we go to.
That's good.
And I can foresee that happening.
That's.
There are a lot of,
We need to make this complicated. You get a blanket permit to put the signs up. When you get 5 signs or more to put up, city promoters, that's.
the thing you all need to determine is, will there be a charge from the city for the hanging of the banners that we have to figure into what the banners actually cost? Or is this a city service to the veterans? And that would be your call. As I said, it won't cost the VFW anything. All of the cost is borne by the individual wishing to honor their veteran. If nothing else, thank you.